What's good, Wagering World? It's your boy Five Star in Vegas, broadcasting live as always from beautiful Summerlin, Nevada. In here with my co-host, my guy, the only Sacramento Kings fan that I know. What's good, Spread Astaire? How are you?
Man, I'm still pretty bitter about the Browns loss on Sunday, but other than that, everything's going great. How you doing?
Man, I'm good. Been on a little losing streak. I know the clients are a little hot with me. My free plays have been horrible, but guess what? I've been doing this a long time, man. I've been doing this for longer than a lot of people have been alive. So I have no doubt that we're going to straighten this out. We've been through this before. It's not for everyone, man. Betting sports is not for the meek. It's not for those who lack confidence in self. And those are two things that I'm far from, and I trust my skill set. I trust my knowledge, and I'm going to keep plugging away, man. We're about to get this thing turned around real fast. It's Wednesday, which means now we're on to another week. Everything else we turned the page on. It's Hump Day. Let's get over the hump, man, and let's prepare for a big weekend. Betting sports, man. You know our weekends begin on Thursday, and I can't wait, man. We're going to get all this money back, and we're going to get in the black.
All right, let's jump right in. Past, present, and future. What do you have for the past?
Man, on the pass, I did a rushed bet. As you know, I really wanted to take the Astros that day, but by the time the show got up, we weren't able to give it out, so I was forced to make a pick. And unfortunately, I picked the wrong side. I don't know what I was thinking going with Burns at home against uh, the Mets. Milwaukee just isn't as good as the Mets. Just simple as that. The Mets are a really good team. They're actually a world champion contender this season with the pitching that they have and the clutch hitters that they have. And it all starts with Francisco Lindor. What a great player he is. He jacked the grand slam yesterday that in the late innings that was able to put them over the hump. Him and Pete Alonso, they're amazing, man. They've been big for their team. And I really like what the Mets are doing. They got an OG manager in Buck Showalter. And surprisingly, Max Scherzer booked the books. They one of the few times that you're going to catch Max Scherzer's plus money. He was even money. We should have rolled him, but he was fresh off of rehab, and I didn't think he was going to pitch long, which he didn't. But by the time he came out the game, it was already pretty much secured for the Mets. They were 5-0 at that time. He pitched 6 innings, and in those 6 innings, he threw a no hitter. So Max Scherzer looked like he's really ready to go for the playoffs. And as an Astros fan, that's the only team that I'm really worried about. I think that we fly through the American League. You know what the Yankees' history against us is. They just can't pitch with us. The advantage the Astros have on every team in the American League is that Dusty Baker coaches that team and prepares that team, and his strategy is like an NL team. They play like an old school National League team, which is they take bases, they play great defense, and they pitch. And none of the American League teams do that. They're only about scoring runs. Like the American League has been for a long time. It's a home run league. And that's why the American League has struggled in the World Series against these National League teams because National League teams play winning baseball. But Dusty Baker, being a longtime National League player and manager, has brought that style now to the Houston Astros, and I think it's going to fare well in the playoffs. But I do fear the Mets, man. The Mets have the pitching and the clutch hitting to definitely give the Astros a run for their money. How did you do on the pass?
Hey, got it done. Philadelphia Eagles pretty much played out like I expected. Kevin O'Connell's going to be, I think he'll be an okay coach for that team. But, because of the influx of fantasy and player props, people just love offense. And I think they're taking away from what the whole game really is about. And people just assume that the defense would be just as good without Mike Zimmer, not really giving him credit for being one of the best defensive minds in football. And I felt that we saw that because I do think that Philadelphia has a very good offense, but you can't tell me there's not ways to shut them down. Most of the love for Philadelphia in the market isn't based on how good the team is. And now this is a good team. I think Howie Roseman's done a great job with this roster, but I don't know if it's a great or an elite team. It's just because the schedule is so weak, which is why a lot of people have love for Philadelphia. So it pretty much turned out how I expected. Philadelphia, the better roster, the better coach, got things done. Cruz do an easy victory. And I'll tell you what did you think of the two Monday night games? I had friends that didn't like it. I personally did like it because that Bills game sucked. So it was like I could switch over to a game that's competitive rather than just have a terrible game on. What did you think?
I like that format. I just wish they'd start a little later. West Coast game, maybe have a West Coast game kick off about 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, and have a maybe 5 o'clock on the East Coast. I like it because the more football, the better for us because, it's all about being able to get to the market and have opportunities. So I had no problem with it all. Now, the games could have been better, but as you said, we both won with the Eagles. Jalen Hurts is really impressive to me. I was big on him coming out of college. At Alabama, he couldn't throw the ball at all. I thought the tool was way better, and I see why he transferred. But by him transferring, he showed the difference between having an offensive coach coaching you like Lincoln Riley and having a coach like Nick Saban coaching you, who's a defensive-minded head coach who pretty much puts it on his assistants to coach a quarterback. The job Lincoln Riley did with turning Jalen Hurts into an offensive juggernaut is amazing because he always could run. He's been squatting 600 pounds since he was in high school. The kid's a physical specimen. Like I said before, his dad was a coach, so he knows the game, he understands the game. But what Lincoln Riley did was give him confidence to throw the ball, showed him how to read defenses better, and it has really helped him become a good pro. Lincoln Riley's going to be a hell of an NFL coach if he decides to take that step. And he did a wonderful job getting Jalen Hurts ready for the game. When he came out, I told everyone he's Dak Prescott all over again. He's just faster and stronger. And now it looks like he has a little bit better throwing ability. His arm looks a little bit stronger than Dak's to me. But he reminded me of Dak, but it's just that he's a guy who's going to do the right thing at all times. The team's going to follow him. He's going to be the first on the field. He's going to give all he has, and he's going to be a good representative of the team off the field. So I'm really proud of Jalen Hurts. He's a Houston guy. And I'm glad to see what he's doing in Philly. And I think he's here to stay as a star with that team. And shout out to Jeff Lurie for having the vision to understand that, hey, Carson Wentz might have been here and was our top pick years ago, but he got off of him quick, was able to get a steal in the second round with Jalen Hurts. And after seeing those guys around the locker room together, he decided to go with Jalen Hurts. And now the Eagles on a path to maybe getting back to another Super Bowl.
The video you sent me with Russell Wilson. Sorry, I had to just ambush you on that one. But you opened the floodgates when you sent me a video. What is going on there? Tell me. I never actually played organized football. Tell me what your thoughts are when you see a professional team doing that.
When you see that going on, Russell Wilson is looking around and saying, this coach don't know what the hell he's doing. Let me get these guys and put them on game and try to get them working together as a team. I don't know what Nathaniel Hackett is doing, man. It's a sad, sad situation over there in Denver. And the Broncos are in for a long season. They're in for a long season in that division they're in because wet behind the ears, really green coach who's over his head going against probably three of the sharpest coaches in the same division. We'll see how.
McDaniels sharp?
Yeah, I was about to say.
Is Hackett so bad that McDaniels is getting a pass here?
We'll see how McDaniels plays out. Yeah, I don't know if he's sharp yet, but we for sure know that Andy Reid is sharp, and we know the little guy for the Chargers. Brandon Staley's going to make us proud one day. Sometimes he ends up on to kick the damn extra point, but overall, that kid's pretty sharp, man. I think he's going to end up doing some good things with LA. So I'm not really worried about Brandon Staley. McDaniels is still in question, but regardless, all three of them have an advantage on this guy.
He might actually be a good coach. His mistake might have been just sticking with Carr. Maybe they should have just rebuilt. Everyone else in that division is stacked. Maybe they should have just said, this is our time. Trade Carr for a first rounder. Tank out this year.
Now he's been exposed. They were supposed to get off of him when everybody was still thinking that he was that guy. I think everyone in the league pretty much knows now that Derek Carr is more about
he's better than Matt Ryan, that's for sure.
He's better than Matt Ryan. He would have been great with the Colts. No, that's a good
first or maybe a second. The whole idea is that you just bought him out this year, and then you have your choice of what I think are.
But John Gruden, if he was still the coach, he wouldn't be there anymore. John Gruden was trying to get rid of him a couple years ago, but unfortunately for Gruden, some things came out his email from 10 years ago, and the ESPN had a bone to pick with him, and they were after him, and they got him out the league. So he got ran off. So
I'm glad he was a terrible coach. He's even worse than building a roster.
We're in Las Vegas now, stuck with Derek Carr for the next 5 years because he's tied into Devontae Adams, and
I feel bad. It's so terrible. I haven't had hope for this team for such a long time.
Real quick, Bills and Titans. It's not much to say except the Bills are really good. It's not much to say,
Do
but
you
Sean
even
McDermott.
downgrade the Titans for that?
No, 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 I didn't. It was just an
I didn't either.
avalanche, and we've seen Buffalo do this before. Buffalo is on a mission. Now, I knew Josh Allen was going to be great coming out of Wyoming as far as in the skill set he had, the type of player, but I didn't see this fast. Um, he pretty much is taking on the role of I know that I'm the best in the league. He feels like he's right up there neck and neck with Pat Mahomes, and it all comes down. He landed in the perfect spot with Sean McDermott. Sean McDermott is a hell of a coach, but since he's up there in Buffalo, people don't pay enough attention to him. He was a great coordinator at Carolina when they went to the Super Bowl last time. He was the D coordinator. And then remember, Carolina used to play great D when he was there. The organization has fell off since he left. I don't know why they didn't just hire him and make him the head coach from the beginning. But he's a sharp guy. And one of the most impressive things about McDermott is this. The number one cornerback for the Bills. Who's their top guy?
Tre'Davious
The
White.
main guy's out. Tre'Davious White is out. He's
Oh,
been out
okay,
a
yeah.
long time. Have they lost a beat? They just put anybody out there corner. And he's so good at drawing up the schemes that, man, they give quarterbacks hell. It's like they don't know what's going on. You can tell every time they play Buffalo, people drop it back and like they're seeing ghosts. And that's all with the greatness of Sean McDermott. He's also instilled the confidence in Josh Allen and has Josh Allen playing like he's the best in the league, man. And that team's going to be tough to play with. But I'm going to be bucking this week. I think after that performance, there's going to be too many people on them. I think I'm going to take Miami in the points, but we'll talk about that later in this week on Friday.
All right, let's jump into the present. What do you got for us?
Hey, man, we got college football and NFL. We can start with the college football. We got West Virginia -1.5 tomorrow night at Virginia Tech. Gonna be a tough one. These are rivalry games. Virginia area schools. I don't like Virginia Tech's quarterback at all. Grant Wells. He transferred from Marshall. That was too many interceptions for my taste. But he has played well the last couple of weeks. He's protected the ball. He threw 4 interceptions at Old Dominion. That's why they lost. And that's one of the reasons why at Marshall he was a good fave for me because he just makes these bonehead decisions with the ball and tries to fit balls in places that he has no business putting them. But Virginia Tech's coach is doing a good job the last couple weeks controlling him, and them folks don't run in the ball. The line has dropped. It was -2.5 Mountaineers. Now it's dropped to 1.5. So we're seeing a lot of money on the Hokies come in. They are at home. Blacksburg's a tough place to play, especially on Thursday nights. I remember they used to do the Halloween games there, and it'd be out of control, just orange and red everywhere. West Virginia's come in. They have a transfer quarterback, JT Daniels, who's played pretty well. They're 1-2, but the loss to Kansas isn't looking too bad right now. After we saw from the Jayhawks, the Jayhawks got a pretty good team, and wow, their coach Leopold did a big program that needs a coach pretty soon. He came from Buffalo, and the turnaround he's doing with Kansas is amazing. We also saw West Virginia lose that first game in the pit, and they were very competitive in that game. Um, my eye test says West Virginia on this game just because I think their defense will be able to force Grant Wells into some bad plays. But you never know with this college football on the Thursday night home team with points. So I'm going to stay away from that game, but I lean early Mountaineers.
All right, what are your thoughts on the NFL game, Thursday night football? Kind of a step back from last week, right?
Right.
Last week was Chargers and Chiefs, points all over the place, 2 of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Now we got Mitch Trubisky versus Jacoby Brissette, huh? All right. Now, pretty.
Oh man, it's going to be low scoring affair.
Did you see the
I like the
total?
Steelers. Was it 38 or something?
38 and a half.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that.
There's college games. That's the first half total.
Yeah, 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 exactly. It's going to be a struggle to move the ball for both teams. I do like Pittsburgh money line actually in this game. I think Tomlin gets those guys to go into Cleveland and get one. The Steelers' history against the Browns. They pretty much owned them during the Big Ben era. Trubisky hasn't played well at all, but he won't be facing the genius Bill Belichick, who can make a lot of quarterbacks look dumb. this
Time
week.
for
So
Tomlin to build that picket fence. Let's go.
he's not
What are we
he's not
waiting
gonna throw him
for?
out there yet. He's trying to let Trubisky turn it around a little bit. He want to keep Pickett on the bench a year, I think. But it'll be Pickett's team for sure next year. But I think they get a win this week. How's the injury report looking for the Steelers? Are they going to have that running back?
I'll look right now.
Steelers been banged up. And the thing about the Browns is just like you spoke about last week. Jacoby Brissette, man, you can't. No way I could bet Jacoby Brissette. Especially if TJ Watt was playing, I bet you this game would probably be Steelers' favorite. That's how big of an effect TJ Watt is on their defense and with his ability to turn the quarterback over. But I
He's
still like
playing.
the Steelers.
Najee Harris is playing.
He's playing.
Yeah.
Minka Fitzpatrick should get a pick against Jacoby Brissett. The key for the Steelers is being able to shut down those two dynamic running backs for the Browns. As you know, the Browns have two of the best running backs in the league, probably the best duo in the league we've seen in a
Best
while.
duo that can't stay in bounds.
Yeah, with Chubb and Kareem Hunt. What's your opinion on that game?
I'll break it down in the ball and parlay because that.
Oh, you want to take it in ball and parlay?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll get to that one then. You want to jump in the future? There's some 0-2 teams. Now, of course, many, including all the Raiders fans that I've talked to, have given this the kiss and death because teams that start 0-2 only make the playoffs 11% of the time. And since 2019, an 0-2 team has not made the playoffs. But do you think there's a couple teams that can buck the trend there? We had two circled before we started. Who do you want to start with?
Let's start with the Titans, man. The Titans are plus 130 to make the playoffs in a very, very weak division. Their biggest deterrent probably in that whole division is going to be Texas, right? What do you think? You think the Texans are better than Jacksonville or Jacksonville better than Texas? What you think?
Jacksonville's
a better quarterback, right?
They have almost better everything.
I
know you like Lovie Smith, but I like Doug Peterson better. I think they have more talent.
I like Doug slightly better than Lovie.
If you think about it, they've just been doing top 5 draft picks year after year. They have a lot of talent out there in Jacksonville.
Yeah, a lot of players we've forgotten who could really go, like you said, who've been just kind of stuck out there in Jacksonville, and no one watches Jacksonville, even when they're good. The back of the Mark Brunell days when they were making the AFC Championship game, and when they had that brief run a couple years ago and almost beat the Patriots on the way to the Super Bowl and lost in the AFC Championship game. Who was that quarterback back then that they had? The guy from UCF. Blake Bortles.
5,000 yards passing or something in Missouri or one of those big UCF.
Schools. Yeah, he was one of the guys that helped start UCF and put them on the map.
Was he? Okay.
Yeah, okay. He's one of those guys. He was a local guy. I think he's from that area too in Florida. He's from Florida, but I think he's from Central Florida in that area too. But yeah, Blake Bortles and those teams, they were pretty good. The Saxonville defenses, but I would have ranked the Jacksonville Jags just a little bit higher than the Texans. Simply out quarterback play too, because I'll take Trevor Lawrence every day over Davis Mills.
By the end of the year, he's going to be really good. Developing
Trevor
under
Lawrence
a real coach,
showing some great signs of being a real franchise quarterback. And the thing that you like most about him is he's such an adult. The kid's already married. He's like 24, already married and settled. You know, he's a real smart kid. So, and you know, that makes a big difference. You want your quarterback kind of like a CEO at a company. You know, you want him buttoned up and, you know, doing all the right things. And he's one of those guys. And him working with the great Doug Peterson, man, he should be okay. You know, Doug, he's from Monroe. I played with his little brother, Dave. Actually, the last touchdown pass I threw in high school football was to Dave Peterson, his brother.
That's cool.
My tight end. And Doug Peterson, man, is a hell of a coach. He's a great quarterback, man. Come on, man. You freaking win the Super Bowl and beat Tom Brady with your backup. You're a pretty good coach. So I think Doug Peterson kind of got pushed out of Philly a little bit too soon, even though, as I said before, the front office of Philly does know what they're doing. Doug has landed in a good spot for him. Him and Trevor Lawrence, tied at the hip, should be able to do a very good job. And in a very winnable division, because the AFC South, as you see, the Colts can't find a quarterback. The Texans are on a perpetual rebuild. And the Titans are on the back end. They're not going to be as good. You see how important A.J. Brown was to them. Their offense does not look good. As you know, Tannehill cannot be trusted. He was overpaid. I think they get out of the Tannehill business after the end of this year, and Malik Willis ends up being that quarterback over there. What do you think about the Titans' chances to make the playoffs in that division?
So we were going over the numbers yesterday. I run an NFL model. For those who aren't members at runpuresports.com, give those projections to all the members. And I do it with the other guy, Tyler, right? And he goes over my numbers with me, right? And I told him, I said, both these teams that played the Bills on my numbers, and I'm sure on everybody's, are completely skewed. The Rams are looking way worse than they really are by my model. And the Titans the same way. I said, you almost want to just throw those games out because that's how good that Buffalo is playing right now. And yes, that was a tough loss to the New York Giants. But isn't that kind of a Tennessee thing? Don't they always win as a dog and lose as a favorite? Just because, they had a rough opening week, they did that last year as well. Then they have a tough start. I'm high on this Tennessee team to turn it around. Here's my main concern with the Titans, though. This could be the end for Derrick Henry, not looking as explosive, right? He's still going to be able to break those tackles and move the ball in between the tackles. It's just when he gets to open space, he doesn't look like the same elite runner. Let's see if that speed comes back, because that was where he was really the unicorn, was being that size but still having the breakaway speed. Right now, he just looks like he's that size. Which is really going to limit the ability of that offense to be dynamic, because without Derrick Henry being able to bust those runs, I don't really like the weapons. Now, I know you're high on Treylon Burks, but I don't know if he's going to be good till like week 10 or whatever. Robert Woods hasn't really shown a lot so far. So this team,
he don't look bad. It's the quarterback.
Saw that idiot Todd Downing.
Oh yeah, he came in last year
and terrible.
Replaced
He's the worst offensive coordinator ever. He's terrible. They ran against the Giants. It was 3rd and less than 1, and he runs a tight end sweep with his backup tight end rather than give it to Derrick Henry. I mean, like, what are we doing here, bud?
Derrick Henry fastly approaching that number for running backs on carries.
He's 28 right now.
And age, he got another year.
30 is usually the kiss of death.
Yeah, and you can see it on him. He doesn't look explosive. And also, like Marvin Hagler said, it's hard to get up and train when you're slipping on silk sheets.
Yep, exactly.
Derrick Henry's made a lot of money. He's been very popular the last 3 to 4 years, in the NFL. He's made a lot of money with Old Spice and things like that. So he's not pulling tires like he was before and out there in the middle of the country in Alabama doing a lot of hard work. He's probably working down in L.A. now with, all these big-time trainers, where before he was trying to get it out the mud and get his family out of rough conditions in Alabama. So the hunger kind of leaves you, man, the more money you make, we all know that. So I'll be interested to see if he gets better as the season goes ahead. Another team that we were talking about that started 0-2, surprisingly, were the Bengals. What a bad performance that was in Dallas. I didn't expect that at all from them. You let Dallas's backup beat you when you should have really been favored, even if Dak was the quarterback. Are the Bengals going to have a Super Bowl hangover? Do they make the playoffs? The books say they're plus 145. They're in another division. You have the Browns are missing their starting quarterback. The Steelers are missing a quarterback.
A starting quarterback, yeah.
Yeah, a starting quarterback, yeah. And then you have the Ravens, where it's Lamar, Jackson, the most dynamic player probably in the league. But what does he have around him? He has no running backs. Currently, J.K. Dobbins seems to be struggling to get back.
I'm not worried about their offense. I'm worried about their defense. And once again, the Ravens, that is, have assembled a great roster, but they're just decimated with injuries in the secondary again.
Yeah. Yeah, they can't stay healthy and defensive back for nothing, man. Like every year, they're going through the same stuff with defensive backs getting injured.
And cornerbacks fall off a cliff too, and Marcus Peters might have just done that as well. So here's my thing with Cincinnati that I think you got to be hopeful for. They've gone against 2 of the best pass rushers in the league the first 2 weeks. They went against T.J. Watt week 1 and then Micah Parsons, right? The line's going to look a little better. Those guys are unblockable, right? So I do think Cincinnati's got a great chance to turn it around. And notice we're choosing these teams A lot of it is based on the division. I'm not really. I mean, I think Baltimore is really good, but like I said, boy, with that defense falling apart, that's really rough for them. And I don't know what you do when you lose 3-4 pieces of your secondary, and it's only week 2. It's hard to prepare for that, and there's really no ways around it. And that's why I, recently, of course, have been a proponent. They got to make these rosters like 70 people. You should be developing people within your own system. It would be, anyways. You already know how I feel about this, but because of the fact that the NFL wants to get cheap there, it seems like the Ravens are struggling there to replace these pieces.
The Raiders are plus 245. See if they can get it turned around. They are in the.
Do you think so? I kind of don't have hope for this team.
At this point, I could count the 2 Broncos games as wins. So we don't know.
I know they always beat the Broncos.
Yeah, you count those 2 as wins. It looks like, man.
But that's usually because they run the ball pretty well against Denver.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. McDaniels doesn't seem committed to it like Gruden was, which was a surprise because they ran the ball really well in New England.
That was a tough loss against Arizona. That one was going to, at the end of the year, be looking back to that game and saying, what the hell did we do? They gave that game away. It was, great playing by Kyler Murray, but no way the Raiders supposed to do.
But Kyler Murray doesn't play defense. I mean,
they gave up 2 2-point conversions and touchdowns in the fourth.
They only scored 3 points in the second half. I mean, that was the issue there. You can't go into a game against most of these new offenses in the NFL and just thinking you're going to shut down these dynamic players. Or
let's get to kick the damn extra point. Maybe Josh McDaniels should have been on there. But we're going to give it to first-time coach Kevin O'Connell just for simply going out there and supposed to be an offensive genius. And let's look at the numbers that they put up against the Eagles. You got the same old Kirk Cousins in prime time with 3 interceptions. He throws for 200 yards. Justin Jefferson is held to 48 yards receiving. Thielen led them in receiving, 52 yards. That's not what you want to see. Dalvin Cook ran for less than 20 yards. This is a big game, your first primetime game, Kevin O'Connell. I don't see a big difference from what the former coach was doing to what he's doing. He's supposed to be this great young offensive mind, but we're seeing the same old Vikings. They win at home and go on the road and get embarrassed in prime time. So Kevin O'Connell has a lot of stuff to show me. I don't like how Justin Jefferson is such a focal point to him. Like, your focal point should be Dalvin Cook. You should be trying to figure out how to get Dalvin Cook involved, how to get Dalvin Cook the rock, to run the ball, take pressure off. You cannot trust Kirk Cousins to be your main offense. A lot of people saying he's going to throw for 5,000 yards this year. Yeah, but at what cost? How many interceptions, how many losses they're going to take. So Kevin O'Connell really displeased me with his performance. I did have the Eagles, but I expected a much better game. And then at the end, you're trying to force the ball to Justin Jefferson to get him a fantasy touchdown. Like, come on, dude. Like, this isn't about stats. This is about winning. And then after you get sacked with 20 seconds left, you don't even have a play ready. You just let the clock run out and looking like idiots on the field. So you got to do better than that, Kevin O'Connell. I know you're a rookie coach and you're cutting your teeth. But for right now, until you get that offense together, you cannot go on prime time and have that type of performance with those type of weapons you have on offense and to be considered an offensive head coach. So Kevin O'Connell, kick the damn extra point.
All right, it's time to get back on track with the Ball and Parlay. I'm going for tomorrow's night's game, but you got a game for tonight. Let's go in chronological order. What's your pick?
All right, guys, let's get it back rolling. We're going to roll with the good guys. When all this fails, go find the Astros. When everything's going wrong, you need a win, go find the Astros. The Astros were very impressive yesterday. The books had them as dogs. The Astros had just beaten Tampa Bay the day before and clinched the American West. Once again, it's 4 straight years that we won that division. After clinching, everybody was thinking, hey, the Astros drunk some champagne last night. I'm sure they had a good time. Take Tampa Bay. They came out and held them scoreless, 4-0. 2 games they played against the Rays, and the Rays have yet to score a run. Once again, that goes back to the great job that Dusty Baker does with that pitching staff and with that bullpen staff. Is the best in the league right now. And they just brought up another killer, young kid, Hunter, who they're calling baby Justin Verlander. He's going to be working in middle relief, and we're going to really need him because I did not like that was our one weakness. I felt like with the middle relief pitching. Now we're going to have Hunter Brown coming in, who's a future starting pitcher. I wouldn't be surprised if he wins the Cy Young before his career is over. He's that good. And I just think Lance McCullers gets it done tonight. I take the Astros first five. We're going to try to stay away from the Jinkies, the run. McCullers arm while he's pitching. He's from Tampa Bay. He's a Tampa native. He's going to have a lot of family there. So it's always a big game for him pitching in Tampa. I think that McCullers does his thing. He's one of the better pitchers in the league. He has a 2.77 ERA in past performances against Tampa. The Rays have Corey Kluber coming up, former Cy Young winner when he was with Cleveland. He's got a little older now. He's not as good a pitcher as he was before. I got to go with my Astros. They used to start early. I look for Altuve to kick things off, and Jordan Alvarez should be back in the line today. It seems like the Astros aren't trying to pull off the gas at all, that they're trying to win the American League's best record so that they can have home field advantage throughout the playoffs when they face the Yankees later on in the championship game. So let's go roll with the good guys. We're going with the Houston Astros and McCullers first 5 innings minus 135. And also you can do the run line if you want. That's plus 110.
Let's head down to Thursday Night Football. Total of 38.5, and I'm getting 4.5 points. I love it here. Give me the Pittsburgh Steelers. One thing I noticed against Cleveland, I mean, Joe Flacco, really not a guy that we put a lot of stock in. When you gave him time, he was able to eat that secondary apart. This Cleveland defense, while we consider it to be really good, it's very pass rush dependent. These corners are not what they used to be, and their coverage is really weak. I think that Trubisky can bounce back, maybe silence some of the doubters in Pittsburgh, and people like me in California calling for Kenny Pickett with a good performance. If he can neutralize that pass rush, he can give himself some extra time with his feet, this team will be able to score. And boy, Cleveland, not impressive from a lot of angles there against the Jets, showing some issues with coaching, maturity, leadership, and of course, Jacoby Brissette out there on the field. There's a reason he's been a backup for most of his career. So give me Mitch Trubisky, give me the Pittsburgh Steelers, and most of all, give me Mike Tomlin. I'm taking the Pittsburgh Steelers plus 4.5.
Yeah, I like the Steelers in that spot a lot. I actually like a money line plus 180. That actually be a play that I'm going to play. I'll probably put it in tonight because it might get down to like plus 160, plus 150 before the game kicks off. All right, guys, we appreciate you guys tuning in. Let's go 2-0 on these Ball and Parlays. Remember, you bet them straight and you parlay them together. We'll be back with you guys on Friday, looking toward the weekend. Hey, man, we're putting all this stuff behind us. We're getting back to what you guys tune in for, and that's the winners. We got the most free play winners over the last 2 years in all of the podcast and sports betting. We're going to continue. Got a little cold streak, but that's all right. We've been doing this a long time, guys, and you know that you can trust us to get us back on track. Best of luck to you all. We'll see you guys on Friday.